The topic the series is called "A Leader is a Ladder." A leader is a ladder. That's my own life philosophy. A leader is a ladder. Now, as a leader, today's topic is a leader's mindset. So, as a leader, to be a leader, we must have a different mindset. The mindset that is right there, right now, out there in the world is such that a leader must be served. That if you are a leader, everybody is serving you. If you are a leader, people are following you, and you are a big man. If you are a leader, you are standing on the top of other men, and they are the ones walking, and you are the one enjoying. That if you are a leader, you are the ones everybody is shouting for, screaming for, honoring, and carrying your bag and following after you and all that. So that is the mindset of leadership that is out there right now, but it's faulty. This mindset must be changed, and we must encourage people to have the right mindset. And the right mindset is the mindset that Jesus gave to us. I mean, there is no better mindset than the mindset of Jesus. And the mindset that Jesus gave is that a leader must be a servant. If you want to be the first, you must be the last. If you want to be number one, you must be the slave of all. So the mindset of Jesus is that of a servant. Let's look in the Bible, in the book of Matthew. In the book of Matthew, chapter 20. In the book of Matthew, chapter 20, Jesus gave a wonderful example to us about what the mindset of a leader should be. Matthew 20, verses 25 to 28. But Jesus called them to himself and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who are great exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you. But whoever desires to become great among you," that's talking about the mentality now, the mindset, "let him be your servant. And whoever desires to be first among you, let him be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." So this is a different philosophy that Jesus is highlighting for the world here. And and when you look at the history of the world, only people who have been able to follow this mindset have been able to rule the world. At the point when Jesus was talking about this, it looked like foolishness. That, I mean, how can you be the servant before you could become the leader? At the point where Jesus was saying this, people were worshiping their leaders. People were, they were like servants. They were like slaves. In fact, citizens were called subjects. There were people who were subjected to the leader. They were like slaves to the leaders. But Jesus was saying no, and he was turning it on the head of the leaders themselves. I mean, and this concept took over the world to the extent that even government ministers, government rulers of nations now, they are called prime ministers. That is the chief servant. This is coming from the concept that Jesus brought. And even government ministers, they are called ministers, slaves, servants. And the chief slave is the prime minister himself. So what does that mean? It means that the philosophy that Jesus brought has overtaken the whole world. And this is the only way it works. This is the thing that the whole world will pass by. Heaven and earth will pass by, but the words of Jesus will stand forever. These are the principles that will be sustainable forever. It is not sustainable when you are, lording it over other people. The people that you are lording it over, they one day or the other will rebel. The people that you are holding by force, that you are controlling, that you are making to bow down to you and serve you, one day they would like to become masters themselves. They would like to set themselves free. Nobody wants to be a servant and a slave forever. Nobody wants to be under subjection. Nobody wants to be under the domination of other people. That's why we have breaks in the churches. That's why we have splits in the churches. Because when you are a pastor and and you hold members, pastors, someone, the assistant pastor, one, all these pastors under you, and they are not independent, and they are just, like your subordinates. One day or the other, they will rebel. The same thing with business, the same thing in everything. So real leadership, if you are really a leader, what are the mindset that you should have? We have some principles that are highlighted here by Jesus, that if you really want to build a system that is everlasting, if you really want to build a system that is self-sustaining, if you really want to build a system that will not collapse, if you want to build a system that will work and make everybody else to be appreciated and to fulfill their purpose, then you must follow the servant leadership model. So what is this about? Number one, Jesus made an example of himself, and that he was an example of this servant leadership. So the principle, the mindset of every leader, if you are a leader or you are going to be a leader, your number one primary mindset must be such that I am going to be serving people. That is why I call this series A Leader is a Ladder. You must only see yourself as a ladder. If you are going there to enjoy, if you are going there to be served, if you are going there to build your empire, you have failed before you started. You have failed as a leader. You will never be commended. Even if you are commended here on earth, you will never be commended in heaven, because you are doing everything against the principles of the kingdom of God. It is only when you do things according to the way they are supposed to be done in the eyes of God, only then you will be commended by God. It doesn't matter how much success people give you on earth. It doesn't matter how much commendation and accolades that you get here on earth. When you do things to oppress people and you're able to win the whole world, well, history also will not honor you. We will not judge you well with time. Especially in heaven, you will not be recognized. Because God will never be happy that you are suppressing other people to have your position, to be able to hold to your privileges. God will never be happy that one individual is subjecting other individuals to himself. God will never be happy that you are making other people to be subject to you, to be submitted to you. God will never be happy about that. What will make God happy is that you are treating other human beings as God's image and as God's likeness. That because whenever you oppress anybody, you are actually oppressing his maker. Whenever you dominate somebody else, you are actually dominating the God that is in him. Whenever you put somebody else down and you are exercising authority over them, you are subjugating them under you, you are actually subjugating the God that is in them. So God will never be happy with that. But whenever you are lifting them up, whenever you are opening the doors for them, whenever you are lifting them up, you are lifting the God that is in them up. So the mentality that you should have as a leader is the mentality that Jesus is trying to teach us here. Your mentality must be that I am the ladder. I am the one that is lying down and they are climbing through me. Unfortunately, so many people in this world, they despise that kind of mindset. They don't want people to climb them or to ride on them, because they think it's a negative thing. People are saying, I don't want people to use me, or people are just using me. Well, I think you should be happy that people are using you. That's exactly what it means to be a leader. A leader must be willing to be used. If you are not willing to be used, you cannot be a leader. The only reason a leader is somebody who wants people to use him. A leader is somebody who is looking for people that want to use him. So it is submitting yourself to be used by people. Leadership is submitting yourself to be used by people. Leadership is voluntarily lying down and becoming a bridge for people between where they are and where they are going. Leadership is used deliberately, voluntarily, lying yourself down or on the wall as a ladder and letting people climb on you to get to their purpose and to their fulfillment. You should be ready to submit your gifts to them and let them use it for their own good, not to build your ministry, but to build their ministry, to build their lives. You should be willing to submit your gifts, your capacity, your resources, your skills, and give it to be readily available for people to use it to build their destiny and to get to where God wants them to be. This is exactly what Jesus was saying. So Jesus said, just as the Son of God did not come to be served. A leader, as a leader, it shouldn't even come to your mind that you want people to serve you. As a leader, it shouldn't even cross your mind at all that you want people to do anything for you. As a leader, the only thing that should dominate your mind is that you want to serve, that you want to submit yourself, that you want to become a ladder, that you want to become a bridge through which people will get to their purpose and their destiny, that you want people to ride on you, that you want people to take advantage of you, you want people to use you. That is the mentality of a true leader. If that is not your mindset, you are not ready to be a leader. Maybe you are an oppressor, but not a leader. But if you really want to be a leader, you must submit yourself for people to use you. So just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. So you must be ready not just to serve other people, but to give yourself, to sacrifice yourself. So that means sacrifice, like Jesus using himself as an example, that he was able to give himself as a ransom for many. That means that he is able to not just give his life in the sense of dying. Definitely you might not need to die for other people because Jesus has already died for us. But if necessary, a leader must be willing to die. But let's leave death aside because Jesus has done that for us. But if it says, you must be willing to serve other people and to give. So leadership is giving, because it says, and to give his life as ransom for many. So leadership is giving. So that is another mentality of a leader. For you to become a successful leader in this kingdom, you must be willing to give of yourself, sacrifice what you have, the ability and the willingness to give yourself, give what you have, offer yourself to people. That is real service. That is real leadership. Leadership is the ability not to serve, the willingness to serve. That's your number one mentality. I want to serve. I want to become a ladder. I want to become the bridge. I want to give myself to be used. That's number one. That's on one part. But the next mentality you must have is that I will be giving. I'm not receiving. I'm not collecting. I want to give. You must be willing to give of yourself, from what you have, from your skills, from your resources, from your ability, from your capacity. You must be able to give. You must be willing to give. So to become a leader is to give. To become a leader is to be willing to give. To become a leader is to want to give. So a leader is somebody that is giving. A leader is somebody that wants to give. And you want to give to ransom other people. You want to give to help other people. You want to give to lift other people. You want to give to raise other people. So the purpose of power, which is leadership, is not to oppress other people. It's not to enjoy other people or other people's positions or enjoy the position. Is to be able to give. Leadership is not just serving. Leadership is giving. But what we see in the churches in Africa today is that the people are the ones rather giving to the pastors. So leadership, to become a leader, it means you are going to collect. You're going to be collecting offering. You're going to be collecting tithe. You're going to be collecting all kind of gifts from people. That is what our mentality today, our mindset today is, as a leader, you must collect. But that is totally different from the mentality of Jesus. As a leader, I must give. And the same thing with Paul, Apostle Paul. He was always giving. He even said, okay, yes, if we are giving to you spiritually, you can also give to us materially. But I will not even take it. I will not, because I don't want you to think that I took advantage of you. I will not even take even though I have the privilege, I have the honor, or I have the right to be able to collect material blessing from you, but I will not even collect it. Because I would rather just give. I would rather go and work with my own hand, but to be given to you, but not to be accused by somebody else or by anybody that I'm taking anything from you. So add the right mentality, the right mindset about ministry. Another thing that Jesus said here He says, whoever desires to be first among you, let him be your slave. So the mindset of a leader is to always think that I am a slave to these people. I am the slave to them. I am the one serving them. So whatever you are giving to them must be beyond what they are giving to you. Whatever you are giving to them must be much more of a greater weight than what they are able to give to you. Then Jesus also said, yet it shall not be so among you, but whoever desires to be great among you, let him be your servant. So you must be able to serve people and become a slave to them. But then what you shouldn't do, another mentality of a mindset of a leader, you should never be like the Gentiles, like the pagans. What do the pagans do? The pagans lord it over their subjects, their people. But so the Bible is saying, as a leader, your mindset should never be to enjoy ruling over people or lording it over people. You shouldn't dominate people. You shouldn't take advantage of people. You shouldn't see people as your servants. You should never see people as your slaves. And then he says, the great ones among the Gentiles or the pagans also exercise authority over them. You shouldn't be exercising authority over other people. You should rather be enjoying serving other people. And this is the basic principle of leadership, of the that Jesus gave unto us. This is the mentality that Jesus expects us to have. Now, I'm going to give you some more practical principles that will be able to help you to be able to put these principles into practice. So, on practical level, what does this mean? To me, on practical levels, this means that you should value people. You should value people as you value Jesus. Because Jesus said, I was hungry. He didn't say the poor people were hungry. He said, I was hungry. Jesus said, I was in prison. He didn't say the criminals are in prison. He didn't say criminals. He saw himself there. He said, he is the one that was in prison. Jesus said, I was in the hospital. He didn't say the sick and the patients are the ones in the hospital. He said, no, I am the one. So why is Jesus using this example, this, allegory to say he is the one? This is telling us how much we must value people. So as leaders, we must value people so much as if we are relating to Jesus Christ himself. We must relate to every individual, no matter, even if they are poor, we must see them as if it is Jesus that is poor. Even if they are criminals, we must relate to them as if it is Jesus that is in that prison. Even when they are sick, we must see them not as sick individuals, but see them as if it is Jesus that is standing before us. So that talks about the value we must have for people. If you really want to be a leader, you must value people like the greatest treasure. You must value people more than you value money. You must value people more than you value position. You must value people more than you value your comfort, more than you value your prestige, more than you value your position. So this is a far cry from what we see from in our political lives today, in Africa especially. People are nobody. People are just being humiliated. People are being, sacrificed. People are being tortured and used and just degraded, and people are just being useless and being, just being dehumanized. But for you to be a leader, there shouldn't be a higher treasure in your eyes than people. That should be your mindset. Mindset should be doing good to people, making good feel good, making people feel good, just like Jesus said, that he is the one that is hungry. We must learn to be a successful leader. We must learn to see Jesus in people. We must learn to see God in people. The Bible said that we no longer see people according to the flesh. We no longer see or accept people, like according to the flesh. So which means that we don't see people like the flesh anymore. So this is what we should bear in mind. We are not seeing them as they are. Because if you see people like in the flesh, you are going to be seeing their inadequacies. You are going to be seeing their failures, their disadvantages, their insufficiencies. You are going to be seeing, the inadequacies of people. So instead of you to be looking at them as from the flesh, we are no more seeing people like in the flesh. We are no more seeing people as ordinary people, as flesh and blood. We are now seeing people through Christ, through the prism of Christ, as if Christ is the one that we are seeing them. We are seeing them, we are seeing Christ in them and through them. We are not paying too much attention at their fault, their failures. We are loving them like we will love Christ. So, for the mentality of a leader is that you are valuing people. You are seeing people as the highest treasure. Never value your organization more than people. Because today in church, Christians think that church as an organization is more valuable than members. So they will say, they just kick people up and down, go or come out, don't, if you don't want, you can go away. As if organization is the church, as if organization is what is valuable. But really, it is people that are valuable. So we are not supposed to mistreat or commonize every individual. Value people. If you really want to be a leader, make sure you convince yourself that the people are more important than your church. The people are more important than your building. The people are more important than your organization. The people are more important than your registration papers, than your status. The people are more important than than anything. People are the only ones that Jesus died for. Jesus died for people. It means they are the most valuable treasure. They are the most valuable people out there. So that is the first thing you want to know. And that's why you must be a ladder to them. You must be willing to be a ladder to them. Number two, if you really want to be a great leader of people, commit yourself to them. Commit yourself to serving people. Commit yourself to just serving, giving yourself to people. Commit yourself to listening to them. Commit yourself to sacrificing for them. Commit yourself to lying down for them to ride on you. Commit yourself that they will use you. Just commit yourself to people. Spend time with them, listen to them when they need you. Give yourself to people, at least, not when they want to waste your time or anything, but when they really need you, give yourself to them. So commitment to people. Valuing people is a great mindset that you must have as a leader. Then commitment to people is another mindset that you must have as a leader. Another thing you have to have as a leader is to relate to people, interact with people, build relationship with people, laugh with people, joke with people, touch people, embrace people, build normal rapport with people. Build rapport with people, be accessible to people, respond to people. I hear a lot of people saying they write letters to men of God that they never get reply. They never get, reply. That is not what a leader should be. A leader must be accessible to people. A leader must be able to respond to people, be able to be, to be there for people. If you really want to be a people person, if you really want to have the mindset of a leader, you must make sure that you are simple with people, you are down to earth with people, and you are ready to relate to them, to build relationship with them, and to interact with them whenever they need you. And talking to them when you can, responding to their mails is just normal. That is who a leader supposed to be. Then the next thing you have to do as a leader to have the mindset of a leader is that you should make sure that you are casting vision before the people. Get them to follow a vision, give them direction, give them instructions, let them see the place that you are taking them to. Let them see the destiny that you have for them. Just like Jesus told the disciples, come and I will make you fishers of men. Cast vision before them. That is Jesus casting vision before these people. That I will make you fishers of men. I will make you into this. So cast vision before people. Tell them what is waiting for them. Tell them of your plans for them. Tell them of where you are taking them. That will also give people, perspective into the future. That will allow people to see beyond their nose, and that will also allow people to be able to sacrifice of themselves and be able to follow your leading. Okay, so yeah, cast vision before people, give them standards, help them improve where they are, help them to become better, give them higher standard, give them standard that they could aspire to, take them higher, take them from one height to the other. And then eventually, when you have more people following you and a lot of people, that you are influencing, then you must try to give people leadership, like give them cast vision for, influence them. You must be able to influence people, be able to influence them through your good examples, be able to influence them through the vision that you are casting before them, be able to influence them, by your positive actions, behavior, character, and by the vision and by the things that you are doing for people. People are seeing your example and they would like to emulate and to copy your example. So, So that is the mentality of a leader that I will encourage you to have. The mentality of a leader. That's a very important thing, that as a leader, you are first of all a servant. And that those scriptures that Jesus gave to us, that we shouldn't be like the Gentiles, very key. Don't let people just be running after you to be hailing you and trying to worship you. That is not what people are around us for. And your mentality must be to be a people developer as well. You must be, you must be interested in developing them and helping them to get to the best that God has for them, to become the best that God has for them. But the most important thing, that a leader is a ladder. A leader is a ladder. Don't doubt that. A leader is a ladder. Well, I think that might be, it for today. And I would like to encourage you to go and register for my mentorship class, which is sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. sundayadelajablog.com/mentorship. Just go there and register. We have people from over 40 countries there already, and go register for free. You don't need to pay any money for it. It's supposed to be $3,000 a year, but you don't need to pay for it. Just go and register and develop yourself, become a better person, become a better leader. And also, if you have not yet registered for the HMT, write to hmt@godembassy.org to find out when the next HMT is coming and other information about the HMT. HMT, History Makers Training, that is History Makers Training with me here in Ukraine. So go to hmt@godembassy.org. And for you to buy the books, you can read my books actually for free of charge on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited, you can just go and read them for free there. But besides that, you can also buy them on Amazon. But if you want to buy them in bulk, if you want to buy a few books, a number of books, many books, then you might want to write to my office, which is dsasbooks@gmail.com. dsasbooks@gmail.com. That is one word, dsasbooks, one word, @gmail.com. So you could write that you want to buy many books, and they will also be able to help you get those books. Well, and if you have not yet, informed us about the contact telephone number of your friends and family in Africa that you would like them to be receiving our messages on regular basis, please write the telephone number down. You are seeing the telephone number now on the screen. That is the number you can send to your family members, and if they send us their numbers or you send us their numbers, we commit to be sending SMS message to them on daily basis, because here you have shorter videos, compressed ones for the format of WhatsApp, so they will not need to spend a lot of data, watching these videos and listening to them. So just send numbers of everybody that you would like for us to be sending the messages to on daily basis. Send all the numbers to us. The number is +38098 596 3838. So send the numbers of all your friends, families in any country to us, and we commit to be sending them messages on daily basis. Well, we are going to continue this series on leadership. A leader is a ladder. That's this leadership series that we're going to be doing. But we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
The Embassy of God Christian Community, with more than 50,000 members in Ukraine, 90 weekly services held in different locations, more than 1,000 daughter churches throughout the world, with 15 new churches opening every month in Ukraine and abroad, pastors and leadership schools in Ukraine, Germany, and the USA, with missionary schools and hundreds of graduates from the Joshua Bible Institute every year. More than 7,000 alcoholics and drug addicts have been set free from addiction. Thousands of lives have been restored to happiness and a meaningful life. Thousands of loved ones have been reunited with their families. This powerful move of the Spirit of God began some 12 years ago when one man, Sunday Adelaja, accepted his calling from God. Honored Doctor of Theology at Latin Theological University, Los Angeles, USA. Honored Human Rights Protector of the UNO Human Rights Protection Committee. Honored Academician from the Unity of the Nations International Academy. Consultant and friend of many world leaders. Advisor to the governments of Africa, Europe, and America regarding issues of national reformation. The Senior Pastor of the Embassy of God Christian Community. Sunday Adelaja is respected by many political and religious leaders, as well as people in the fields of science and art. Well-renowned preachers T.L. Osborne, Miles Monroe, Reinhard Bonnke, John Maxwell, John Bevere are among a few in close relationship with Pastor Sunday. Pastor Sunday has had the opportunity to meet many film stars in Hollywood, as well as Peter Daniels, a multi-millionaire from Australia. Peter is now a regular guest in Ukraine and holds seminars with Pastor Sunday. In May of 2005, Sunday Adelaja was among one of the 7 most influential evangelical leaders invited to a meeting with the Israeli government. Every week, Pastor Sunday holds conferences and seminars outside of Ukraine. For the last 4 years, Pastor Sunday has visited more than 30 nations to discuss matters of national interest with governments and heads of states. In September of 2006, Sunday Adelaja was invited as one of the world's most influential persons to the Humanity Problems Solutions International Conference, organized by the ex-President of the United States, Bill Clinton. The ministry of Sunday Adelaja has drawn the attention of the world media. Popular magazines are full of articles about the African preacher who is working miracles in Europe. Well-known editions such as The Voice, Charisma, Life TV, Washington Post, The Wall Street Journal, Associated Press have all published articles about him. Pastor Sunday is a regular speaker on the Moody Radio Focus on the Family program. BBC visits yearly to film events connected with the Embassy of God. Several programs featuring Pastor Sunday are broadcast on SBN, Revelation TV, CNN, and ABC TV. For the past 4 years, the largest Christian channel, TBN, has been broadcasting programs of Pastor Sunday Adelaja's teachings. CNL is another channel which covers his teachings. Pastor Sunday is the author of over 10 books about practical Christianity. He has written 89 books in Russian and 16 in English covering topics of spirituality, purpose, leadership, family, and business. The Apostle Sunday Adelaja is fulfilling the perfect will of God by working on issues of national transformation. When you need Him, expect a miracle.
As more sports news for you in about an hour from now. Now then, it's got a congregation of thousands, a charismatic Nigerian leader, and it's planning to spend millions on a new headquarters. But the Embassy of God Church isn't in Africa or indeed in the Bible Belt of the USA. It's in Ukraine. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church says it's brainwashing people, and those in charge are more interested in power than religion, a claim denied by the Embassy of God. The BBC's Helen Fawkes reports.
It might seem like a pop concert, but this is religion, Ukrainian style. The Embassy of God is sweeping across the country. It claims to have 25,000 members in the capital alone. For people here, a church service that has a feel-good factor is something new. But the reason it attracts so many people is this man. Charming the audience with tales about temptations he's faced, Sunday Adelaja is the charismatic leader of the Embassy of God. His bright clothes and upbeat message make him stand out from other religious leaders. He started the church with just a handful of African students in Kiev. Now, even the city mayor is a regular. But Mr. Adelaja has faced a lot of hostility.
Can you imagine a black man coming from Africa, you know, in this society? Here, you are lucky that you are white, because if you are black, you would have felt the difference.
The Embassy of God is growing in popularity, but it's still the Orthodox Church, which is the dominant religion here. Most people consider themselves to be Orthodox Christians. It's a religion which has been around for centuries.
And the rituals have hardly changed. It's a complete contrast to the Embassy of God. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church feels threatened. It doesn't like the way the evangelical movement is attracting some powerful members, like politicians, and it claims that the Embassy of God is a cult.
The
followers become like zombies. They are fully devoted to the leader of the organization, ready to fulfill any of his desires. It also has an impact on political life, because these people help to campaign for the politicians loyal to their church.
But the Embassy of God says there's no brainwashing. Instead, it's successful because it works with people who feel rejected by society. At this homeless shelter in Kiev, it helps prostitutes, drug addicts, and members of the mafia. A lot of people have become alienated following the end of the Soviet Union. So perhaps the reason that this new church is so popular is that it offers a sense of community, something which has been lacking for many Ukrainians. Helen Fawkes, BBC News, Kiev.
The Embassy of the Blessed Kingdom of God for All Nations is one of the largest evangelical churches in Europe. It has more than 20,000 members in Kiev and about 50,000 members in other countries. The church founder, Pastor Sunday Adelaja, is the author of more than 50 books about Christian life.
I believe that Pastor Sunday Adelaja is the closest thing I've ever seen to someone fully committed to the purposes of God.
The basic purpose of his ministry is to raise up strong leaders that will be able, in their turn, to raise up other leaders. This is the reason why 14 Bible schools and institutes have united in the Embassy of God Spiritual Academy. Thousands of graduates have gone out to various countries. More than 300 churches are under the Embassy of God. 218 of them are in Ukraine,
and 113 abroad. Only 34 branches of the Embassy of God hold their meetings every Sunday around the city of Kiev. This is the house of God where I serve. This is my family. I feel I am needed here. This is the place where I can realize my potential. For me, the church is my whole life. I have life, happiness, and love here. This is the place where I feel very comfortable. I always can come here and find joy. I found the real family of God. Influential politicians, members of the parliament, and municipal deputies are all members of the Embassy of God. By acting according to Christian moral principles, they influence the legislative authority of Ukraine. Every day in the parliament, I speak more and more about God. The church must be a leading force of the society. Many who were unemployed before coming to the Embassy of God and due to the pastor's work have now started their own businesses. In the Reformation Business Academy, qualified specialists hold seminars on how to do honest business. The businessmen of this new generation now build their work on biblical principles. This is why support for family-style children's homes, hospitals, and boarding schools are an essential part of their activity. In order to solve manufacturing problems, advice bureaus in the factories have been established. The charity center, Stefania, is sponsored by the businessmen of the Embassy of God. Every day, more than 1,500 homeless and needy people receive a free hot meal.
Хвалите Господа, все народы прославляйте Его, все племена, ибо милость Его к нам велика. Истина Господня вовек, ибо милость Его к нам велика. Истина Господня вовек.
Every year, the Love Rehabilitation Center holds the March of Life against AIDS. During its existence, more than 3,500 alcoholics and drug addicts have received a normal life. God has set me free from alcohol, and now I have a dream and calling. I was a drug addict for 5 years. God has given me freedom and a sense of life. The qualified counselors of the Trust Hotline help those who have found themselves in crisis situations. During its 5 years of existence, more than 70,000 people have been consulted. Precautions about negative social problems among scholars and students have become one of the most important directions of the Embassy of God's activities. Many teenagers are won and saved by this work. Hundreds of children are rehabilitated and brought back home. The Embassy of God runs the complex program of solving family problems. The work of the Marriage Preparation School and Advice Bureaus is directed to equip and prepare people for marriage. The Embassy of God continues to work on the subject of spiritually moral family planning. Women's groups are arranged where pregnant young mothers can get necessary psychological help. The qualified consultants are working on the psychological consequences of abortion and AIDS prevention. In the men's groups, husbands are helped to take their proper place in the family and society. The annual men's conference draws thousands of men, not only from Ukraine, but from abroad as well. This is the place where I can find God. The church is the life I am living now. The raising up of Christian morals and ethics is the main direction of the youth social organizations of the Embassy of God.
The things we have seen are so great, and we'd like to transfer something like this to Greece, where we have started church, AWC Athens Worship Center, and we'd like to see Greece being blessed as Ukraine. You're a great example.
Through the TBN and Revelation TV satellite channels, Pastor Sunday's preaching is heard by more than 200 million people. The branches of the Embassy of God are functioning in more than 300 cities and villages of Ukraine, as well as in the countries of the former Soviet Union, Canada, India, South Africa, Germany, the United Arab Emirates, Latvia, Israel, and Poland. Today, the influence of the Embassy of God has spread into 100 countries.
I get encouragement here. I feel God's presence in this place. I get love and joy here. God has redeemed me from drug addiction and bondage of sin. When a man speaks and his words come true, why should I not believe him? I met Pastor Sunday before the church had begun. Nothing was started. I couldn't even imagine about the existence of such churches. All that was new for us. When I was just starting the church, I made the decision not to create big programs and draw crowds of people at the beginning, though I hoped many would come. But I decided only to make an announcement on television, inviting at least some people, because I knew if I could manage to gather 8 or 10 people, I could teach them well. So we did it. To be able to have regular Bible studies, Sunday Adelaja had to quit his high-paying job as a journalist at Routinho Studio. He had to leave his corporate apartment and car and stay with his friends in dorms. They knew nothing about God. They were complete unbelievers. And for 3 months, I put so much truth into them that their spirits became on fire and they wanted to build the church themselves. They understood what the church is. Sunday Adelaja and his friends, foreigners, spent all of their little savings to put together a charity Christmas dinner. The young pastor was getting used to frequent times of fasting. I was one of those who helped Pastor Sunday to arrange the church from the very beginning. I sang in the worship group. I served as an usher. I remember how we had our first leadership meetings. Actually, all the meetings in the beginning were held in my apartment. The first leadership meetings, the rehabilitation center classes, the worship group practice, all that was in my apartment then. Of course, it was difficult to draw the first people to meetings. But I walked with my members everywhere, on the bus, on the transport, encouraging them to preach. I would not let anyone stay passive. We had to talk to the people about God. On February 6, 1994, the Word of Faith Church was established. 50 people attended the grand opening. Pastor Sunday began to hold the first leadership meetings. 7 people fervently prayed every day and walked around the city telling people about Jesus Christ and inviting them to the service. By the end of 1994, there were 700 people in the church. In the same year, the Love Rehabilitation Center, where alcoholics and drug addicts could be set free from addiction, was established. About 3,000 people have been set free from alcohol and drug addiction in the years of its existence. In August 1994, Pastor Sunday Adelaja married Adelaja Adelaja. Now I can't even imagine my ministry without my wife, because we are as one. And I can say that all I do, she also does. God is the foundation of our family. I serve the Lord, my husband serves the Lord, and we believe our children also would serve the Lord. By the first anniversary on February 6, 1995, the church had grown and there were 1,000 people. Due to the television programs where people told how their lives had been changed, the church became popular in the city. He's waiting for you. He says, come to me today. I want to prove my love to you. I want to help you in life. And he really helps. Thousands of Kyiv residents came to the church and accepted Jesus Christ into their hearts. And after 2 years, we already had 2,000 members. We had our meetings in a cold building where the walls were almost frozen. But the Spirit of God had filled us so much that Pastor was on the stage dressed just in a shirt and he was hot because God was with us. In 1995, Pastor Sunday wrote his first book. The same year, the Joshua Bible School was established and the first missionary church was planted in Homel, Belarus. In 1996, there were 3,000 people in the Word of Faith church. Very well-known speakers visited the church. In 1997, many negative articles were published about the church and Pastor Sunday in particular. There were lies and falsification of facts. By the end of the 90s, about 50 articles in several television programs which abused the church and Pastor Sunday had been published. In spite of the reporters' attacks, the church continued to grow in number. Daughter churches were planted in other districts of the city. The members of the Word of Faith Church began to preach the gospel to prisoners in the Kyiv City district. The Religious Affairs Department became interested in the activity of the foreign black preacher in the Orthodox country. Meanwhile, in the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Sunday Adelaja's passport mysteriously got lost. Sunday Adelaja and his pregnant wife were being kicked out of the country. Since 1997, fasting and prayer retreats for pastors have become regular and are held twice a year. Right now, about 1,000 people from different countries attend the retreats yearly. In the same year, Ministry for Street Children was established. From 1997 until 2002, about 500 girls and boys have received spiritual and social rehabilitation. Many were returned to their families. In 1998, when the church was 4 years old, there were various court cases on the activity of the church and particularly Pastor Sunday. In spite of persecution, many influential people such as businessmen, lawyers, and politicians became members of the church. New daughter churches were planted in the Kyiv district and in Russia. In 1998, the Esther Ukrainian Christian Women's Society was established. It is distinguished by its charitable work in hospitals, orphanages, and social work with poor families and single mothers. In the same year, the ministry that provides spiritual and psychological help for married couples was established. Sunday Adelaja was accused of being an illegal resident. Then he was prohibited from any preaching activity. There were police, CIA, medical, and psychiatrical representatives at every service of the Word of Faith Church. The Visa and Registration Department said that Pastor Sunday had to leave the country within 2 weeks. In 1998, the soup kitchen Stefania was established with the help of Senator Leonid Chernovetsky. 2,000 people get a complete hot meal for free each day. Since its beginning, about 800,000 people have been fed. Stephanie Ministry provides social, medical, and spiritual help to the poor and destitute. Praise God, I was given the way. They told me that there is a God and that I'm not hopeless. And now we have our own business, and we believe that God is with us and all things are possible for us. In 1999, the church continued to grow. New daughter churches were being planted in Ukraine and abroad. The nationalist movement threatened that they would deal with Sunday Adelaja in a bad way, but later changed their mind and now share his views. The visit of the popular speaker and politician from the Bahamas, Dr. Miles Monroe, spawned a new breakthrough and growth in the church. The members of the church reacted positively to the teaching on the calling and purpose of man and began to study. Some opened their own businesses. After Dr. Monroe's visit, the Davir Musical School, where children and adults can study, was established. Also in 1999, the English school was established, and the 24-hour hotline where people can get counseling for various life situations was also begun. In 2000, the mail ministry was established, and 8,000 people are involved in the correspondence. In the same year, the long lawsuit against the pastor and the church ended. The church won the court case, and the negative talk and publications in the mass media stopped. The Word of Faith Church grew both in quality and quantity. Our family was about to be destroyed by the plans of the devil, but God had His plan. I thank God for this church. This is a new life, a new breath. I have learned to work with people in a team. People who were with Pastor Sunday at that time now recall about Pastor. In his weakness, Pastor understood that it is impossible to live under such pressure unless you have close relationship with God. That only energy from God gave him the ability to withstand in those difficult times.
Každý месец больше тысяч человек в нашей церкви, и проблема была как вместить этих людей.
Every month we had more than 1,000 people get saved. But the only problem was how to place them all, how to make everyone a member of the church, how to work with the new converts. And God gave me a dream. Do just like Jesus did. He had his 12 disciples. In the same way, you too take 12 disciples and let them have 12 disciples, and so on. This will give each member the opportunity to receive the pastor's care and teaching, and to release to other people what he has gotten from his leader. Due to the 12 system, by the end of 2000, the church had grown to 15,000 people. Regular night prayers for Pastor Sunday were also established in the year 2000. In 2001, on 8th International Remembrance Day, the first March of Life took place. Around 20,000 people marched through the streets of the capital to declare that Jesus Christ can give a second chance to the drug addicts and HIV infected. In 2001, the Word of Faith Church held its first men's conference, which 4,000 men from all the world attended. They learned how to find their identity and place in the family and society. Pastor Sunday Adelaja was awarded the rank of academician of the International Academy of Spiritual Unity of the Nations of the World, recognized by the United Nations, and given a diploma and a medal. Beginning in 2001, Pastor Sunday began traveling to other countries, and his first disciples were going out as missionaries to countries around the world to preach the gospel and plant new churches. At the end of the year 2001, the church...
If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much. Peace.